welcome back to Listen to Leo. Today, what I want to do is I want to demonstrate using chains in Langchain. So, what is a chain in this context? A chain is simply a series of steps that you can do in order. And so, using Langchain, the reason you would want to do this is to use large language models like GPT-3 or 4, or other models like that, in a series of steps, because a lot of times it's hard to do what you want to do in one step, especially if you want it to be a repeatable, accurate process. And so I am starting off here with just a basic Python project. And so I do use poetry for my dependencies. You're welcome to use pip, whatever you want in terms of setting up your Python project. And so the first thing I'll do is I will do poetry add Langchain. That'll take just a few seconds here. Okay. The other thing we want to be able to add is OpenAI. So this will give us the ability to use OpenAI. And then one other thing I like to install is a package called Python. Oh, helps if I type add Python decouple. So what this does is it lets me easily use environment variables that I can specify. And so what I'll do here is I'll touch a .env file and go in there and add in my OpenAI API key. And then I will pause the recording briefly, put in my OpenAI key, and reference it later. Okay, so now I've got my OpenAI API key available to me. Excellent. And so I'm going to go ahead and just start with an example from Langchain's documentation on chains. And so we can get rid of that. Just do a couple imports, and we'll just throw the rest of these in here. And so what we're doing is we're importing OpenAI from the Langchain LLMs, the prompt template from prompts. And so all we've got here is we've got this prompt template. And so what the prompt template is kind of this string that has a value that can be replaced, and it's got a variable here, right? So this tells us that we will be looking to replace product in this prompt. And then, so kind of the next step is we want to import LLM chain. And then down here, we can actually instantiate that chain. And then what we'll do is, so now we'll do chain.run. And if you look, we're actually passing in the value here for product. And so this is colorful socks. And we can go ahead and run this file now. And let's see what we get. And after I did that, I totally forgot to actually pass in my OpenAI API key. So this is where decouple comes in. So from decouple, I can import this config, and then our OpenAI API key. And so it just pulls that environment variable from our .env file, and we'll pass it into the LLM parameter there, and we can kick it off. Okay, so it came up with Rainbow Socks Company. If we run it again, Cheeritos. Awesome. So we've got a good start here. And if you look, the temperature here is actually set to 0.9, which is rather high because this is a creative usage of a prompt. We want it to really have a fairly high degree of randomness and creativity in its output, so it's not going to get the same output every time. Now, if we set this to 0, for example, what we're going to see if we run it, Socktastic, and we run it again, and it's Socktastic. So that kind of came, that just says I want this to be the same thing every time when we set that temperature all the way to 0. All right. And so now what we want to do is, so this is kind of interesting, except it's really just running a single prompt, right? And so what if we do this? So we'll go ahead and add in a second prompt that takes the company name from the previous prompt and writes a catchphrase. And so again, we've got a variable here for company name. We have, the company name there. And then what we can do, so we'll need to add another import from langchain.chains. And then, wrong one. Okay, so now I've got our overall chain, which is a simple sequential chain, which just says run them in order. So it's going to do chain and then chain 2. So our first prompt and then our second prompt. And now we will grab our catchphrase here and we can print the catchphrase. And so we'll bump that back up to 0.9. And again, we're going to do colorful socks. Let's see what we get here. The Rainbow Socks Company. Step into the rainbow with rainbow socks. That's not bad. Let's see. So we got Soccerama. And put your feet in the limelight at Soccerama. So that's pretty good. Overall, really happy with that. And so what this shows is it shows us how to easily chain multiple prompts together. You can do really any number of prompts and it'll run them all in a row. And so in my next video, what I want to do is I actually want to set up a chain that will help me write a script for a YouTube video. We're getting a little meta here, so stay tuned. That's coming soon. Thanks for watching.